Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
What's up? What's going on?
Get him out of here!
Get him the fuck out of here!
Get that boy.
What's going on? We're here for another week.
Millennials versus everybody, especially Trump.
Oh my God.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. I'm Wally Wall Street.
We're here with Dave Williams as well. And we have a special guest this week.
Especially guest. Yeah, so from the great city of Miami, or North Miami, we got our special.
Yes, extra special, super duper special new guest here. We got Miami Fresh 305.
305 fresh. I'm cooler than it seems, and I'm fresher than the rest.
Yeah! That's what's up.
There it is. Yes. So, how do you feel about your state and coming from where you come from?
Well, it's funny because I don't know why people from outside of Florida are always like, oh, we got somebody from Florida here. Like,
That's close enough for us.
I'm from Miami, Florida. I don't know Florida like per se. I know a little bit about Orlando, maybe a little bit about Tallahassee, but more or less I know West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Broward, and then down to Miami. I don't know the entire state of Florida. Sorry.
Florida's big. It's
a
big state.
Yeah,
it's a big state. It's a big mix. It's a lot of different kinds of people.
Yeah.
And that's too much for us. We can't handle that. We don't know.
Yeah.
We're Jersey. We got the Jersey Shore.
Right. And that's
We
about
got-
it. Jersey Shore. Oh yeah, when you go on the turnpike, it's going straight to.
Shout out to the armpit smell
Oh my gosh, you
on the turnpike.
going towards Elizabeth,
that acid rain pollution.
going towards the
smell.
Holland Tunnel. You smell that great air, frisk air before you hit,
Yeah,
Gotham City. But
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, no, our state, we're known for being next to New York. That's what we bring to the table.
Damn.
exactly.
Yeah, Jersey. I've been to New York. Yeah, you're just like,
Yeah, it's funny because somebody asked me, "How's New York?" I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, but Jersey.
yeah.
And I'll say, what's really more funny is like whenever you're talking to somebody, especially a Haitian family member, they never really realize that, like, oh yeah, you're from New York, right? And then, but nah, dog, you're really from Jersey. So they're
Nah,
like, oh
man.
yeah, li sorti ici, from New York, li. So I'm like, nah, I'm just
No.
living in Jersey.
It's New York, Boston,
Yeah,
Florida.
what is it? Canada, probably Toronto.
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah. Where else?
Yeah.
That's about it. Nah, this
No,
not even
that's
more.
basically it.
Not even Atlanta. Haitians.
No, it'll be like one random uncle in like Georgia somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. But big ups,
Yeah.
man. We got our special guest. He's plugging
Yes.
in a lot of music. He's plugging in a lot of thoughts, and I know how was it out there, man, during hurricane season?
Man, from where I was inside of an apartment building, a condominium, for just to kind of like be more correct, I was in a condominium, and from the window, it didn't look like much was happening. Like looking outside, certain trees were swaying here and there. Then post Hurricane Irma, like I went outside, did a little bit of driving around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yo, that shit was messed up, bruh. Like, badly. Trees falling over. Like, it was trees that fell over that covered entire, like, streets. Like, you couldn't go north or south.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like it's like sideways across the street, so you can't drive, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah,
Like-
exactly.
Like in
Like,
the street.
It fell over from somewhere on the side of the street.
Right.
And covered the entire street.
Shit.
So, yeah, like, pretty much a dead end.
Wow.
We were without power for, like, 10 days, 11 days. Yeah.
So how did you get help? Did FEMA
FEMA ain't do nothing for us. FEMA told us we got insurance, so we should contact our insurance
that's
company.
Wow.
But FEMA did do for other people, though. Not everybody, just
Okay.
people without insurance.
Really?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know they ain't do for us, but
Was it a neighborhood by neighborhood breakdown? Was it where some people in some neighborhoods?
well, my
good?
next door neighbor, FEMA did for them,
Oh, okay.
which was weird, but whatever. And we have more people living in our house than they do. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm a target. You know, I am 305 fresh, cooler than it seems, fresher than the rest. Anti-government.
Yeah, right.
You probably heard,
Yeah,
heard
right,
a couple of
they
your
already know.
records. There's like,
Like, oh yeah. He
let's
hangs-
cut off his mic by
Yeah.
not giving him power.
They said, "Oh wait, nah."
Well, you know what that feels like? I record all my music at home.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, I felt like I was in hell.
Yeah, right.
Like, no way to create. Like, I'm not about to spend $50-$60 at a studio session when I learned all that stuff. But Jesus.
Shout out to all the scammers. And when I tell you I set an appointment, don't try to set things up 5 minutes before I get in there.
True. Yes.
But that's another topic for another day. But today we have some important topics to really touch down.
Yes, we have some fun stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about millennials versus traditions. We are often characterized as the generation that's always going against the norm, and they always set that up like a bad thing. Like like you read about how millennials are destroying the napkin industry because we use hand towels and paper towels instead of napkins, and like stupid shit. Like every industry that breaks down, it's our fault because we're young. And so, we're dumb, right? So we're going to fight back against that. We're going to talk about some of the issues that deal with kind of tradition and how we're fighting back.
Get your hands out of my pocket.
We're going to talk about political correctness and
yeah.
Mel Brooks fucking up and saying shit that old people probably shouldn't say. We're going to talk about marriage. We're going to talk about the ups, the downs, the way we approach marriage versus previous generations.
From a male perspective, of course.
Right,
Because it's
right.
only right.
Right. From and as balanced as we think possible.
Which is completely imbalanced.
Yeah. In other words,
But
hang in there.
expect a part 2.
Yes. We're not going to leave it there.
Ladies.
And we're going to talk about the other R. Aside from relationships, religion. We're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about people are coming to the church. People are leaving the church. Right now, the trend is down.
Right.
But let's talk about it, right? So,
Cool.
But first, we have to talk about Captain Little Hands.
Our orange president.
Yes.
Yes.
What does that even mean, orange president?
Because he's like,
Have you seen him? He's dipped head to toe.
Doritos.
Orange
there was
gold.
like a subliminal message behind that.
No deep political message. He just wears too much bronzer. And it's
He's got a long ass tie for no reason.
Yeah, right.
To cover that daddy pouch.
Yeah, right. The kangaroo. Well, hey, we're not here to fat shame or kink shame him.
No,
You
let's
know,
fat shame. Shame.
Gading. Let's not kink shame Trump for having a pee-pee tape, by the way. Yes, there is a dossier. There's a tape out there floating around. Allegedly, but every time it comes up, Trump gets real tight.
Pause.
So yeah. So I think it's pretty true. There's apparently tape of him either peeing on or being peed on by these Russian prostitutes. Again, not to kink shame, nothing wrong with being peed on,
Everybody
but it's funny.
has their own appetite.
Right.
And they can
You can't
do it.
tell me it's not funny. People out there who like to be peed on, it's funny. It's funny to imagine the president that way.
I want to piss on you, drip, drip, drip. Shout out to Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
Dave
right?
Chappelle,
Oh my God.
We
Yeah.
need you on the show, Dave.
Yes, so Captain Pee-Pee Sponge decided that he's upset that the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry doesn't want to stop by and say hello and have tea and crumpets at the White House.
Come by to the White House. Come see how real I am. Let's play
Play Madden.
That's a Beef DVD reference.
Yeah, right. Shout out to Royce the 5'9". Oh my God.
And D12.
I'm out here with my daughter, Ivanka, and her sister.
And her girlfriend.
Yeah, right. So Stephen Curry wanted to make a political statement about our president and the way he leads this nation by not visiting. Trump decided to respond in the most immature way possible, tweeting to Steve here. Going to the White House is considered a great honor for championship team, which has been true up until now. Stephen Curry is hesitating. Not true. Therefore, invitation is withdrawn. You don't get to show me up at that party. You're not invited. That's
Classic bitch move right there.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't want to take you anyway.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
That hurts.
That's our president. And so Steve responded like any kind of person would, kind of just calling out the leader and pointing out that this is not the way a leader acts. You're the most powerful man in the world right now, and you need to have the confidence. You need to have the self-esteem to hold it together.
Yeah.
When the cute guy you like doesn't want to come over.
For the cute girl.
You know, in this case, Trump is really upset that the cute guy he likes didn't want to come over and hang out with him, and that's upsetting and that's frustrating. But you really got to get past that. I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
I think that the president has is really doing his part, expressing who he truly is. And
Right.
clearly he's someone that's very sensitive.
Sorry.
And then, and when you break, if you don't show him love, then he'll attack you. And,
Right.
And that's very childish. But hey, that's the man the people brought into the White House. So, what do you expect?
How do you feel about our president being that predictable?
Yeah, that's true.
Like if I'm the leader of, I don't know, let's say Turkey, and I know I need to get something out of Trump. I know I need to make him feel a certain type of way to get one of my agendas pushed. Knowing that it's really that easy to get under his skin.
That's scary, man.
Right? It's
That
really
is
that
very,
easy to
very
play
scary.
him.
That is very
Just
scary.
because a basketball player didn't want to stop by for an afternoon and take some bullshit pictures that don't mean anything.
Right.
It's that easy to get him that upset that he's like, nah, fuck that. Where's my phone?
Yeah, like he's gonna show like
Yeah, like I'm gonna show you how,
petty,
right.
for lack of a better term. Petty. Petty, brother. You are petty.
Yes.
Cut it out.
8:45 in the morning. You should be getting your daily briefing, trying to figure out how to keep the world from catching on fire.
Exactly.
But he's on ESPN.com, like getting caught up on like.
Well, to be fair, I'm watching ESPN.
You're not.
But you ain't the president.
You see the president right here with his boxers, like, come on.
Yeah,
Kaepernick."
right. Yeah, right. There's another. Right. God, get him. Get that nigga. Yo, how do you not?
How do you not fucking like lose? I don't know, man.
It's
You're right.
crazy because like a couple years ago, I forget who said it first, but a couple athletes came out, black athletes, and were saying
Salute to y'all.
how like a professional sports is like slavery, right?
Yes, it is.
And so people were saying, "Oh, that's bullshit. You're ungrateful, and this and that. We pay you millions of dollars. You should be thankful that we give you that much. Blah blah blah. How is this slavery?"
Yeah.
Two things. Do we remember how pressed people got when LeBron originally said he wanted to leave Cleveland? And do
Yeah.
you remember that sense of entitlement people had? Like, nah, LeBron don't get to leave. Like, he's
Right.
ours.
Right.
He's our horse. He's our,
Yeah.
he's our main ox, our worker, right?
Yeah.
So they took it personally. Like, in the same way that when baseball players decide to get traded around, it's not the same kind of, you don't get to leave. We own you, right?
Yeah.
And so the same thing here. You don't get to protest. You don't get to say how you feel.
Yeah, you
Play
don't
the
get to
game.
stand up for anything. You
Right.
have to fall for everything.
Right.
Right.
Because you're
Sorry.
not a person. You're just, I just pay you here to entertain me and my buddies. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it was like in quote unquote slavery days. I'm
Right.
not sure if I can say slavery days as if it has been abolished, because
Right.
personally I feel like we still living in times of slavery.
It's a new form of slavery.
Exactly.
Which is
Exactly.
tied into finance
Exactly.
now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or whatever. But yeah, that's a very good point. You know, around that time, a lot of the older basketball players were really attacking, like the veterans were attacking LeBron for making that switch as well, saying that, well, you know what, as you stay at one team, you show your loyalty, you don't have to do all this whatever. But
Don't go rocking the boat now. You hear?
But that's my point. I think they are attacking the new athletes like a Carmelo, like a Chris Paul, like and or Dwayne Wade for making moves like that, where like they're looking out for themselves and then tapping into other ventures, because I think they're slightly jealous that they couldn't make those moves.
No, they're pissed off. They weren't as educated
Exactly.
as the athletes of today are.
Exactly.
Period.
So because of that education and that connectivity that we have, athletes at this moment don't have that excuse not to look, turn the other cheek. And I applaud any athlete who has the testicular fortitude to take that and roll with it. You know, not everybody in the locker room makes $57 million a year.
Yeah.
So the ones that are making the top, I mean, I think they have like a greater responsibility, because the others, they're just trying to pay off their student loan debt.
Yeah, I think it's something else too that's interesting. It's like with Mike Vick and how his response to Colin was like, "Hey man, cut your hair, just play." Man, I said Colin again, didn't I?
Yeah,
that's
man.
some shit. It's
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, right. This has been an ongoing issue for me. Yeah. So like, I mean, his advice was tap dance, man. It's really not that bad. Just once Master plays a beat, get the tapping.
Damn.
Right? And so, but I think a lot, but that was his response though. Hey, play ball, play, and they tell you to jump, say how high, Master,
Right.
And so, but I think that comes from just like the old school mentality being ingrained in them.
Yeah.
And so they've been in that culture for so long. It's like, it's like Roots or anything like Akunta, him getting his foot cut off, that basically ended it.
Yeah.
He stopped trying to run off the plantation. He lost
Right.
the foot, and
He broke down.
there is a point where you can be broken down. There is a point where you can kind of lose that, And so I think that with those athletes, they stay in there so long,
Right.
they get this Stockholm syndrome, and they go,
Right.
"Hey, it's not that bad, man. Just play along, do what they tell you to do." But it's this thing for me. It's like, how are we ever gonna have respect when we don't demand for it?
Right.
If we don't demand for it, like if we can be watching football earlier and watching an 80% black locker room, but black people aren't allowed to express how they feel.
Right.
When it's us doing it, us literally, just like the country,
Yeah.
all the work is done on our backs. We're the entertaining wide receivers and the entertaining tackles and all
Right.
that type of shit that you go to football for. But
Right.
we're not allowed to talk.
Right.
Just shut up and play.
We're
It's Mandingo fighting. It's
It's exactly what it is.
That's what it is.
Where what was that film with Leonardo?
I was thinking
Leonardo.
Leonardo.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo.
Leonardo
saying?
DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Is that who you're referring to, sir?
Yes, sir. He's a fun young man from the
Young
great
lad.
state.
A fine young lad.
Yeah.
But
Django.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
No. Django.
Yeah, they're
Django.
They're Django.
But,
Was it Jamie Foxx in the Django?
Yeah, man.
yeah. But damn, I lost my train of thought. Fucking Leonardo.
Mandingo. Mandingo fighters.
That's not the key word I'm looking for to remember.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Mandingos. Proceed.
Damn it. I forget where I was. But yeah. So so the idea that, damn it, man, fuck
It'd
it.
be like that when you lose your train of thought.
Yeah, for
man.
yeah, it does call into like a lot of questions of like.
So we were talking about
Yeah.
Michael Vick saying, "Hey, Master blow the whistle, tap dance."
Oh, right. So
Yeah.
so basically, it's like he feels comfortable. It's up to us to really crack down tradition. I mean, it's going to be a risk take, and some of these guys, I think they put so much hard work not, doing that they expect us or young athletes, not just us young athletes, but I'm saying anybody that put the work that they've done to get to where they are like they have, they want them to keep that gravy train going, right?
Right.
Because for some reason we think that life is all about, you do one thing and then probably because of how we were taught about how we would get jobs. You go to school, you do 30 years with a company, you retire to Florida, you know, or Nevada, whatever, and then you die, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the case now. We live in an era, especially with a whole bunch of information, where you could tap into things. You could be 60, 70 years old, launch your own business, and then it's called KFC. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the athletes are taking that, and I think people...
Is that how KFC started, by the way?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
For
the guy who started KFC.
The Colonel?
Colonel.
After,
I thought it was just some old made up man.
he was doing a bunch of other things, and he was real good at frying chicken. So everything else didn't work. Everything else he went for didn't work. Started selling his little chicken.
This might be out of line,
He
but
was the dude.
but can someone tell me how black people are stereotyped as the fried chicken people, and the
Right.
main fried chicken franchise is like some old Southern white man? Can someone explain that to me? I thought we were the fried chicken
Question of the week.
people. Right?
Next week, I want somebody to
The fuck?
listen. Hit us up on Instagram, MXE Podcast, and tag us. Let us know your thoughts and comment on that statement, because that's a very good point.
Like, it's not that white people aren't allowed to make fried chicken.
I've known some white people that make pretty excellent white chicken. I mean,
Right?
fried chicken.
Talking about the white meat, I guess. Yeah.
I guess so, fried chicken.
Yeah. Like, but like, I don't
Is
know.
it bland?
Yeah, right.
Put
I
some
want to
adobo
see.
in that bad
Yeah,
boy.
I want to see the seasoned spices recipes. It's probably just like a Jamaican jerk chicken recipe.
Like
Just
what-
took like 2 shits out.
For real.
Took like 2 pinches of salt out or some shit, and he's like,
But you know, with
"Here's
most,
my recipe."
But with most stereotype, it probably starts off with a visual, with a story. You know, like let's think about that one film, the first film that shocked America and that people were just loved and said it was the greatest. It's like history in thunder and lightning.
Okay.
I think it was titled. Let me see here. What was the name of that film again? I think they remade that movie too, and the guy who remade it was a brother who was accused of raping a woman, and they tried to demonize him. But I forgot the.
You have to give me more clues than that.
Let
man.
me
That's-
see it. This is an awful Blues Clues I'm giving
lost.
you
I have
here.
no idea.
A
what
movie
you're
was
talking
called. Damn, where's Blue to give me a blue clue? Something with a nation is coming. It's
Birth of a
coming
Nation.
there. Birth of a Nation. Yes.
Okay.
That was the movie I'm referencing to.
I didn't even see that movie.
You didn't
I
see
want
that
to see that
film?
movie so bad.
It's hard. To
Everybody
get through,
tells
man.
me, yo, when you watch that movie, you might like you already anti-government, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to like you're basically gonna be anti-white.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to be anti-white. I don't want to be anti-government.
Cover it up. Clean it up.
You know, I want to definitely be pro.
Cut his microphone off.
Pro.
Take his mic
No,
off.
it's the truth. I'm
Yeah.
pro equality.
Right.
At the same time, I know where I'm at. I know where I'm living.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've become this person due to life experiences. You know, I've been 21 for some time now. If anyone asks, 305 Fresh is still 21.
21.
I do not plan on aging to any other age. You know?
Benjamin Button here, y'all.
You know, black don't crack. Black don't crack.
Not at all.
Melanin power.
Shout out to all my melanin sisters out there, keeping it fresh.
All the melanin queens out there.
Y'all see you out there on my
And
IG.
chocolate babies.
Wally Wall Street at
You know,
Instagram.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of white chocolate out there. What's happening, white chocolate?
I see you out there.
What's happening, baby?
Oh yeah,
Yo, we were bad off track.
David is
Yes, we
not
are.
saying a damn thing. Because he
Yeah.
know what's up. But
Jesus Christ.
It's pressure.
right.
Pressure. We're off topic.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
get back to Donald
look
Trump.
at him, he's mad.
Donald
He's
Trump
mad.
was mad.
Jesus here, guys. We get out of topic here. Let's change this.
Hey man, I have more than one career, man. What are you doing? All right, what are you doing? Trying to fuck them both up? Cracking jokes?
Hey, you're not gonna find out. This is a conversation between us three. Nobody's listening to this. This is what we do for recreation.
So Mel Brooks.
Disney.
Let's talk about political correctness, right? So we have
Nice.
Mel Brooks, right, who famously helmed Blazing Saddles, The Producers, and Young Frankenstein, a big fixture in Hollywood and the comedy industry. He's fed up. He's
Why?
upset.
What'd he do?
He's hurt. He's triggered. He's a snowflake melting on the windowsill. He's upset.
Uh-oh.
Yes, he's frustrated about what's referred to by the unwoke and the uninitiated
Shout out to the unwoke.
wake
to that deep REM sleep. Talking about political correctness, PC culture, the idea that there's something offensive about trying your best not to sound like an asshole all the time. For some reason, that really offends people. That really offends a lot of older kind of demographics. But we as millennials, we understand where it's at. But here's what he had to say. He said, comedy is the lecherous little elf whispering in the king's ear, always telling the truth about human behavior. He goes on to say Okay, so while comedy can be found in almost anything, there are some things off limits. I personally would never touch gas chambers or the death of children or Jews at the hands of Nazis. Everything else is okay. So just like already coming to here, we have kind of the crux of that type of person's argument. It's, why are you guys so sensitive? Why are you guys so offended by this or that? Right. But don't make any jokes about things that pertain to me personally, because that would be too far. Yeah. If you say something that hurts my feelings, well, then I'm going too far, and that's not okay. And Holocaust jokes are never okay. But so this, for me, kind of brings up an interesting kind of conversation where, there are a lot of hot button issues. To where if you're inside that demographic, it's a sacred demographic for you, right. And so you don't want outside people making fun of it, right. And so people get defensive about that. But when it comes to everything else, it's okay. Right. So I guess the question for you guys is PC culture okay? Is it okay to always look at the political correctness of what you're saying? And are there times where it's okay to bend it a little bit? Are there certain circumstances where it's okay to play with it, and why not? Why or why not?
I don't understand why we've come to a point where everything is just such a sensitive issue. I can take a joke, like you can make a Haitian reference joke, like, oh, Haitians came off the boat and this, that, and the third, and I can laugh at it, Now, of course, if you're going in and in and in, the deeper you get, the more I start to feel like perhaps this person just finds us to be like a joke or something. I wouldn't personally make any comic references to like Holocaust victims, nor will I make like comic references to slave victims. If I do make like a slave joke, like I like to say the word massa, if I do something like that, that's like borderline, that's like the top of the layer. Right. If I ever make a joke, I'm not a comedian, by the way, but if I was to make a joke, I wouldn't do nothing but scratch the surface. Like I wouldn't get deep. So I don't think we should like be such a politically correct nation, because everything is politically correct. At some point, we're gonna just have to shut up, because everything is just gonna be, oh, be careful, that person's sensitive. You can't say this that way. You can't say it that way. You have to say it this way in order for someone not to be offended. Like, nah, like I don't think we should live in a world where everything is like under a microscope and you have to be careful, because then, I don't know, I think that kind of dehumanizes us. We're human, like certain shit is gonna be funny, certain shit is gonna hurt. Okay, life goes on, bruh. As long as I'm not pulling the trigger to kill you or something like that, I think life will definitely go on. I think we all have to take on the responsibility of understanding the people around us. If I say something that offends you, personally, I can apologize to you and try not to do it in a way where it offends you. At the same time, if I know I'm going to do it, I got to be responsible enough to tell you, hey, I'm going to do this, so you might not want to be around. Right. You understand? So
true indeed. That's good points. What do you think?
Well, I think you guys are going to be a little shocked.
All right.
but I am pro PC culture.
Okay.
I think that sometimes it is required that somebody really considers what's coming out of their mouth, because the power of the tongue is deadly. You know, you might say something that is just to spark a little bit of humor, but someone might take it and turn it into something real, and then go into a church and kill people, or go into a mosque and harm people because of somebody was saying in reference to, I don't know, someone else's religion and what we need to do, whatever. So I think although we get tackled and we get, you know, the millennials or whatever younger, they say, oh, we are a PC generation, we want safe space, but it's partly because we realize that a lot of people have not taken the time to understand other people's culture, ideas, and then not necessarily adapt it and just accept it, but just be respectful and just live life as
mindful
one.
of it.
Yeah. Because we haven't reached that yet. That's why I think PC culture is required at this moment. But once we're like, you know, I guess it would need an alien invasion, not from Mexico, but from like Mars, to keep us all in check.
Shout out to Mars, man.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I heard that, you know, shout out to Wyclef too, that they were doing on Combat Jack podcast, that he's got like certain sounds. They had got certain sounds from like Mars, and he's using some of those sounds to create music. And then they're going to try to reach out to the Martians.
Trying to go back home.
Yeah, right.
ET go home?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
come get me, man. It's Trump.
But you
It's
could
too
fact
much.
check me on that. You could, you know, double check. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I think PC culture is at this stage of, especially when we're dealing with a president with a potty mouth. We don't want his words to get a dude in North Korea hyped.
Right.
And press the George Bush the button. Or no.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's a question.
Okay.
Should a person who made the comment be to blame for someone else's sin? Or why, or, you know, their anger made them kill someone? Or, like, is it their anger that made them kill? Or is it my comment? You understand? Like,
It's their, when you speak, you create pictures. Like whenever I don't care.
it says so in the Bible. Life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Right. So
Yeah.
when every time when you and I are having a conversation, you're telling me a story, I'm picturing what
Yeah.
you're experiencing.
You're pretty much bringing it to existence.
Right.
So because of that, you have to be mindful of what you're saying. So
Yeah.
although you're saying, you know, a disclaimer, this is just an effing joke, you know, don't take it seriously. But if I'm not in the right space of mind, let's just say that I just lost my job, or I just found out that, like, you know,
They took your jobs.
I just found out that like my significant lover or whatever left me for like a midget, you know.
Jesus Christ. He means a little person.
Yeah, political correctness.
Correctness. I
PC
fucked
culture.
up.
Here you go. Here you go. But should someone who's small be mad that you said the term midget?
They could have a short fuse.
Here's the thing. Asshole. You're an asshole. Look, 4 words, right? Tiller the baby killer. Bill O'Reilly went on Fox News every single day for weeks and months. There was an abortionist doctor in like Florida or Kansas, one of those states, right? And every single day, Bill O'Reilly would go on TV and say, Tiller the baby killer, Tiller the baby killer, and talk about how because he did abortion for desperate women who needed medical attention, he was a baby killer. Well, one day, someone got upset and said, you know what, this guy's killing babies. I need to do something about it. He was a father. He had children. Someone went into his doctor's office and shot him and killed him in cold blood. There's another case, the Pizzagate thing. People went into this restaurant trying to shoot up the owner because there was a rumor that the owner was involved in like child trafficking and shit like that. So if you say it enough, people will react. So I think it's interesting that you kind of make that point that we need training wheels like political correctness. Because, if we're talking about mature, rational adults, then, you should be able to say this, I should be able to say that, high five, whatever. But, I mean, shit does happen. People do take things to heart. And I just part of it that kind of trips me up. I'm somewhere in the middle of you two.
Literally, he's sitting.
I'm sitting. Yeah. Right. And so like, for me, it's like, okay, so there are some situations where PC culture absolutely makes sense, right? So if you're talking to someone who is a victim of any kind of sexual assault, if you're around that person and you're aware of that, you're not going to talk about that in front of her. Right. And then you can make the same argument, oh, what? You scared of triggering her and blah, blah, blah. But it's like...
What if it was a guy?
Either or, whatever. Either or.
I think sometimes if it's a guy that you would just... Oh, if he's just saying, maybe you're right.
No, you're making a very valid point.
Right. So it's like... So if it's okay to be like, well, we probably shouldn't talk about... So why is it... Not to say that sexual abuse isn't serious, but why is it okay to... Like, we just automatically go, well, yeah, of course not. Nah, that'd be insensitive. We accept that, no problem. But if it comes to a little person, it's okay to make fun of their feelings, because, fuck it.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't like that stance. Fuck your feelings. I don't feel like it. Like, it's just, like, does it really take that much more effort to go, if they prefer to be, if, as a group, you've decided, we like little person better than midget, is it that hard to say, let me just add like one syllable. It's like, you don't like it when the old white man walks up to you, hey son, and hey boy, come do this. And you give him a look like, oh, we don't talk to each other like that.
For real. I'm a grown-ass man.
I'm a grown-ass man.
I pay rent.
Right, so it's like, we get offended by shit. Why don't we just learn
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
There will never be a point in life, and you can quote me on this. There will never be a point in life where we'll know exactly what to say and how to say it.
That's true. That's very true.
I could be saying, damn, boy, I hate that the grass is so green. And somebody who loves that the grass is green gets upset. So should I be mindful that this person might be mad that I'm saying I hate that the grass is green? We have to, as a people, we have to get to a point where take yourself away from what hurts you and surround yourself with what builds you. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to get to a point where everyone's going to know what to say, when to say, and how to say it. Because you don't know what people are going through on a daily basis. Like, I cannot read your mind. You might have just lost your job, and today I feel like making a joke about people who ain't got no job.
Right.
But I don't know. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't know. So I think as a people, as a race, a human race, not black or white, but more so human race, we have to get to that point where we have to accept what we have no control of. We can't control what everybody in the world says. We're not going to get to that point. And we have to just be in control of what we can be in control of. Like, I don't have to be around you if your mouth is going to talk about black people and be like, all right,
unless you work for Paula Deen and she's saying like 4 N-words a day. And
but here's the thing.
And you're just like,
you have shout out to my dog Jay-Z. I'm not black, I'm OJ. He's like house nigga. Don't fuck with me. I'm a field nigga. Sean Cutlery, whatever the dude's name is. So you got house niggas and field niggas, right? If all the house niggas is okay with the white man saying nigger, because they getting AC, they getting treated better than the field niggas, the field niggas are always gonna have a problem with the house niggas.
Right.
Should the house niggas and the field niggas be like this? No, I don't think they should, personally. If all you house niggas is tolerating this shit, and us field niggas, like, we're getting the brunt of the frustration of the white man, fuck you. It's just that simple, man. And we have to be able to stand up for what we believe in. If I'm a house nigga who can't stand the word nigga, I'm gonna tell dog, hey yo, you got one more time to say nigga.
Right.
I'm gonna holler at you. Period. You gotta stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And we have to get to that point, like I said earlier, where you don't have to be around something that hurts you. Like, you can literally take yourself away from it. The problem is people are making excuses. Oh, I need this job, or I need to be here, so I need you to stop doing what you do. No.
That's true.
But-
Yeah.
But I would say also, but what's dangerous though is that there's this little device here that connects with so many people. So even if you're not looking for it, it's going to show up in your Facebook feed. It's going to
Yeah.
show up on your on your emails, your tweet, your IG. Like so now it's even more dangerous. Back at maybe 1970, sure. When we didn't have these type of devices or whatever, we weren't so connected. Maybe it's not even the devices. It's just like we started traveling, transportation, shit like that. But teleporting.
Yeah, right.
But you have to really. It's what's really frustrating is that you can't really control what people say, and you're right. You can't really take it to heart. But there are people that are in power, people who have influence, that do respond differently. Like when you look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how he was able to inspire so many men when there wasn't anything known as the NOI. You know what I'm saying? Look how his few words, and you see this man, how he speaks. He's not no like Jay. He's not no like.
We don't co-sign everything Elijah Muhammad says.
Oh yeah, we don't call up. All right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because
no.
I'm not. All right, and
For
I'm not
everybody who
great.
doesn't know what NOI means.
Oh, the
Right.
Nation of Islam,
Right.
Fruit of Islam. Just how is that a soft-spoken man who doesn't really? He's not out here doing whatever like on the gram, right?
Oh my God.
You're like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But he's not on the grams or whatever. But he there's certain things that he said. Got a guy by the name of Malcolm Little to really do a 180 and start like invested in this man's program. That's the power of speech. That's the power of tongue, and more that ties in not only to just the physical, but in the spiritual, and that's what I'm really looking out for. That's part of the reason why I think PC is very important, is because that you're tapping into someone's spirit, and that right there you cannot change. Anybody, you ask yourself, why would somebody strap themselves into a bomb and blow up, or why somebody jump into a plane and hit the World Trade Center? The power of speech and tongue,
yeah.
and what they witnessed around them created their reality, and they feel like they're doing it for greater good.
I feel like negativity only attracts more negativity. So if we're gonna live in a society where it's totally okay to like, I do understand the logic of like, I have a controversial stance on bullies. I know people always disagree with me, but I'm not pro-bullying. I'm not pro-bullies.
Yeah, clean that up real quick.
Yeah, right. But I'm not against the concept of bullies, because having to deal with people that you disagree with is something that never goes away. Like when you go into the workforce, when you go into your everyday life, you're always going to have to know how to deal with people who look at the world differently than you. And I see that as just like, this is the practice round for the rest of your life. How you deal with that. Do you stand up to someone when they try to take your space away, or are you gonna coward when it comes to this bully here, or when it comes to work and you deserve that raise, but you're scared to ask, you're scared what he's gonna say? You have to learn how to deal with people. And so I'm not against the idea of people having different opinions than other people. It's just that I'm kind of torn, because it's like, on one hand, I do understand that, like you're saying, personal responsibility is important, and you can't control the other person, but you can control your reaction to that other person. And so I see that logic, but is it okay to speak in a way that hurts people's feelings just because I don't feel like learning the words?
Definitely, morally, it's wrong.
Right?
We have to take on a moral responsibility to do better.
But then
as people.
When is it too much? When do you go too much to? Because
We don't know. There's no spectrum to grade it on. Like there's no
Right.
scale. You can't say, okay, if he does it 7 times,
Yeah.
you tripping.
I think intent matters so much. I think like so much of where, like for some reason, like something else, Quentin Tarantino, I watched a bunch of his movies. He says like 2 or 3 N-words per movie. Half the time it's out of like left field. Like before Django, and like I watched Pulp Fiction because people talk about it so much, and it's the other one, Reservoir Dogs, all these
I
types of
haven't watched
movies.
that movie yet.
It's alright. It's not like whatever, but like
Deliverance, I haven't watched that.
yeah. I think some of his movies are pretty good, but like yeah, like he'll just say 15 niggers in a movie, like just cause fuck it, just to say it, just to be real edgy and real different, and so like yeah, like when people first got mad about the Django thing, he said the N-word like 100. The Django. He said like N-word like 130 times or some shit.
It's a period piece, though.
At the time, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, well, you know, it's slavery and this and that. But when you watch his other movies, you're like, he does like to throw that word around, like for no reason.
It's a period piece.
So now I'm looking at you like, right, that's what he's saying. Now
It was the 70s.
Everyone was doing it, yeah. Like, so it's like, I'm looking at you a little sideways because I don't know where your heart is coming from, because you seem to just like to just throw this word around for no reason. Like, there's this one scene, black dude gets killed, he's in the back of the car, and then they need to get the body cleaned up because the girlfriend doesn't know what he does, and he's trying to get the whole shit straightened out, like. And then one of the characters is like, what, I run the nigger store or some shit like that? Yeah. But that had like nothing to do with like anything. It was just throwing the N-word out. Let's just be assholes.
Yeah.
So it's like when we get to that point, oh, toughen up, snowflake. It's like, no, that's not art. There's no artistry in that. You just thought it'd be kind of funny, be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So then it's like, you know, how do we find ourselves in the middle, you know?
Like Malcolm.
How do we compromise? And speaking of compromise, let's talk about another big compromise issue here. We have millennials and marriage. So we have an article
I love
here.
this topic. I got a little something.
A little something in mind?
A little something in mind.
Within reason. Within reason.
Yeah.
We have an article here by Gabriella Barco with Washington Post where she talks about the perceptions of marriage in millennial circles.
So this is a woman speaking?
Gabriella, I'm assuming,
Cool,
is a
cool,
woman.
cool.
So great, we have a woman's perspective.
Yeah, right.
So we're good. Yeah, we did that part, fellas.
Yes.
Yeah, let's move along.
Yeah, right. So she writes, I can't even imagine paying for a wedding right now. 26-year-old Caitlin Schaefer tells me. The grad student splits her time between teaching special education kids and running to class, all while accumulating tens of thousands of dollars in student debt. Oh, did I mention she just celebrated her 10th anniversary with her boyfriend? But no, marriage isn't on the table right now at the moment. Millennials struggles, man. All right. So for many young people across the country, putting off marriage or even settling down with a long-term partner has become the norm. The average age for first marriage is 27 for women and 29 for men. In urban areas such as New York and Washington, the averages are even higher. It seems that everyone has a different answer for why. Blame it on the economy, dating apps, or women's ability to delay childbearing. But she goes on to say that it's all three of the factors and probably many more, right? So, so this is the question for the panel right now. Where are we as millennials with marriage? And is it a good thing or a bad thing? And why?
Well, I would like to say how something that my father used to say, this joke around, is like, no money, no honey.
Yeah. Fact check. I spoke to Dad. Dad does say that sometimes.
Yeah.
Dad said that like last week. I was like, oh shit, he does say that shit sometimes. Okay.
So it really breaks down to the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Numbers don't lie. You know, when you're battling
Numbers don't lie.
When you're battling student loan debt, and then here's this is a perfect episode. I love this episode because we're talking about challenging tradition. So you're thinking, okay, 20K, 30K for a wedding, right? So it could be all very beautiful. You invite 200 guests. You know, you're twerking on the dance floor. Everybody's loving. You got to pay for the plates. You know, that stuff.
Twerking at the wedding. Twerking at the wedding.
Right? You know, so you're doing all these fun things.
The Amber Rose special.
But hey, you got a band, you got cocktails, you got before all that, you have a bachelor party and then the black bachelorette party. Then you have the before you actually the wedding starts, you have the wedding dinner, right? Where everybody's sitting down together.
Rehearsal dinner.
The rehearsal dinner, right? So all these things. And then you gotta look for a venue. You gotta find who to sit. All right, all these fucking variables, right? Meanwhile, you have to think about how you owe Sally Mae. You're working at a job that probably is not paying you what you require. So, you know, you're struggling, trying to make ends meet, paying rent, doing all these other things. So, yeah, with all that said, how can you try to get married based off how your parents got married?
Right.
It's probably best to justice of the peace if you really, really want to get married, you know, or you could just, hey, let's come up with a plan, figure out ways we could break down our debt and be realistic on like, okay, how are we really going to move and get a condo, or how are we really going to move to handle children? Because then once you get married, then there's going to be another pressure to have children. And then once you have children, it's probably to buy a house, then to buy, you know, all these other things and stuff. So yeah, we're at a time where, and I agree with, you know, the author Gabriella, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she made a very good point where it's, when you have all these variables, it's very difficult. And I think I would like to add that age that she gave about what time for people to get married.
Yeah.
It's probably makes sense if you're someone who went to college and you graduated at 21, 22. And then you wait towards 32 to get married. Yeah. If you were really handled your finances correctly, or your parents co-signed on your loan, you probably paid off your student loans by that time, because they usually give you 10-year gaps. So if you apply that, then yes, maybe your 30s is probably the perfect time to get married. But at the same time, if you're talking about raising children,
right,
that's another conversation. So
right, it's like the first factor she said here is the economy. It's like you know, we talk about this all the time. Inflation in the 70s made this all a joke. I love saying this stat because it blows my mind. Bernie can't get 15 minimum wage passed. Meanwhile, they're saying that if we count for inflation, our wages should be 20. A minimum of 20 an hour, right? That's crazy. And so if that's the type of money that they were making, and college only cost a couple $1,000, then yeah, getting back on your feet and getting that family situation started makes sense. You know, going back even further, like 50 GI Bill stuff, people were coming straight off of World War II using that money to buy a house and to have a built-in family in the suburbs, and you can have your white flight, and you could forget you ever lived in Harlem. Yeah. And so it's we're comparing ourselves and our financial situation to that. And granted, it's not like World War II is easy.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not trying to minimize that.
Or the Dust Bowl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So, you know, a lot of great folk songs came from that, but also a lot of hard times in the Great Depression.
Hey,
so
I love the blues.
Right. So it's like, you know, like you're talking about all these other, you know, kind of like financial factors. And then there's just the basic kind of just everyday, we're operating on a timeline for when we should get married that doesn't make sense for where we are financially, you know, in 2017. And so I think that kind of expectation versus reality kind of thing is what's, you know, that's what's happening.
So we're talking about breaking tradition, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. From what I understand, marriage is sort of like a business, you know? It's like two people coming together, starting a business, and, you know, trying to make it to the top. This is my own personal, what's that term I'm looking for? This is my own personal conclusion of what marriage is. So, again, we're talking breaking tradition. I noticed that you mentioned spending $30,000 on a wedding, trying to get this, that, and the third done. Bachelor parties, wedding rehearsals.
The best part is the bachelor party, for be on record to say that.
We got bachelorette parties.
No bachelorette, just bachelor parties.
Okay, so
That's as good as it gets, huh? The night before.
The night before.
being that we live
Day -1.
being that we live in a time where, like, it's just we're getting paid little and we're getting charged a lot for everything.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get married, you know, and this is for the millennials out there who are listening, if you're going to get married, we have to break the tradition of being under the assumption that we have to spend or we have to break the bank to get married. I want to get married. Not everybody's going to make the cut to the wedding.
Right.
Not everybody's going to make the cut to the reception.
Right.
Unless everybody who wants to make the cut or wants to come to the marriage is chipping in. Now, if you like, yo, I got 200 on your wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, let's get it. You got a plate, you got a spot.
You
gotta pay to play.
Yeah.
You get courtside money.
But
Yeah,
if my wife and I or our family, if we're putting that money together, it's certain people who are gonna make the cut and certain people who are not gonna make the cut.
Does that mean we also have to cut down on like the whole 3-month your salary for ring purchases? Does that mean we have the father pay the wedding for the girl, so we have to go 50-50?
That's why I say here we go with this is why we have to come to terms with breaking tradition, because my dad may not be able to pay for our wedding, but I done saved enough money. I might be able to pay for half of it. Do you have enough to pay for half of it? No? Then let's wait till you have enough to pay for half. I mean, this
10 years later.
Hey.
Ready?
Hey,
Meet me at the.
and we were talking about that song in the car. It's funny he said that. We were talking about that song in the car.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
Because we were
Shout out
talking
to
about
Jack
marriage,
Man.
how in today's world, in today's culture, like people are not making songs like that anymore.
No, not
Why
so
would
songs.
you?
So relationships don't even last because you got the rappers wanting a gang of bitches, and you got the young boys wanting a gang of bitches because they hear the rappers say, "Oh, I got a gang of bitches, this, that, and the third."
Right.
And you got the young girls like, "I want to be a bitch" to one of the rappers.
Just got to
Right.
be bad
Because
and bougie.
I want to be like I want to be his girl. I want to be the type of girl that he likes.
Right.
It's that association with success.
Yeah,
You want to
exactly.
be around successful people.
Or
It's
what
all
you
about
what you are
energy.
under the impression that success is.
Right, exactly.
Because for me, success is a mindset.
My
If I
thought-
say I'm about to ace this test, and I'm trying to ace this test, and then I get an A, that's
Yeah.
successful.
Hey, shout out to Ace Hood.
Like I'm not. That's South Florida, by the way. but again, back like not to like get off topic. We have to get to a point where we have to break tradition, because living up to that standard, first of all, that is not our standard. That's a standard that was brought to us, to our culture. From my understanding, how things were, like we was in the field, you feel me, in the
Right.
woods, like
Yeah.
it wasn't no getting a big church. You know what I'm saying? It was the people of the community who came to witness the holy matrimony.
And that's the other thing you brought up just now, actually, the difference between like West and kind of more like other like more I guess spiritual, for lack of a better
Exactly.
word, cultures. Yeah, marriage was more of a spiritual thing, and I think that's another important aspect of marriage that gets lost is like, of course, someone who's never been married, right? But like still like with the understanding that marriage is supposed to be also this deep emotional kind of spiritual connection. But I think a lot of that gets lost because I want to have a wedding that I can be proud of. Right? But what about every day after that?
Yeah, like bro, so you're not gonna worry about your wife.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna worry about the day
Right.
that you married her. All your boys was there.
were
Right.
Niggas pulled up in Rolls Royces.
Yeah.
The night before, like, get the fuck out of here with that. Like,
Yeah.
stop it. No.
It was like the Wood 2.0.
Yeah, right.
We have to get to that point where,
Right.
and to bring up the whole financial aspect of it, if I'm marrying my woman, my debt becomes your debt. So before, listen,
Yeah, you're right.
so
you're right.
before we get married, we have to understand each other's debts. I have to understand whether I can help you with your debts, and vice versa. You have to understand whether you can help me with mine.
In other words, what 305 Fresh is letting you know is that credit score.
Yeah, it's very
will
important.
be-
They don't
Yeah.
teach us that. Our
Yeah.
culture didn't teach us that.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Credit
yeah.
karma is pretty important, man.
Our
Check in.
culture didn't
It's
teach
free.
us that.
For real.
We're adopting the other.
Not the sponsorship.
We're
Yeah, right. Yeah,
We're
that was a
adopting-
non-paid
Sponsorship
sponsorship.
by credit.
We'll throw in some music and shit. Next
Yeah.
You pay us.
We're adopting the culture of others. Not to say that their culture is wrong.
Right.
It just doesn't fit us.
Right.
And we living in the United States of America, which is just a gumbo of people. Like you have people from everywhere, and you know, interracial relationships are very popular.
Yeah.
So your culture might say this is how a wedding is done. My culture might say this is how a wedding is done. So
Right.
what the millennials have to do is like break that tradition. Like for the sake of keeping love alive, you have to break that tradition because in America, it's all about the dollar. Marriage has nothing to do with love. Ain't got nothing to do with the spirits. Like it have nothing to do with God. It's all about a dollar. Like you said, no money, no honey.
Right. Shout out to Joye Guillaume
Yeah, oh my God.
from Edison.
It's definitely certain traditions that millennials have to break. So I'm pro breaking that tradition right there. Like we can't be on some I gotta have a $30,000 wedding. Nah.
Yeah.
Listen, baby, this is what we can afford. Let's make it work. You got people out there who are wedding planners. You give them $5,000, they make your wedding look like it was a $100,000 wedding.
Indeed.
You understand?
Yeah.
So we just have to be, you know, what's that? You know, when you use your money wisely, you just have to use the money wisely. Basically,
Yeah.
I forgot the term, but
Yeah.
frugal.
Yeah.
There you go. Shout out to Bay.
Yeah.
Bay, she on the line.
Got the lifeline.
Frugal.
Keeping them in
Appreciate you.
check.
Appreciate you.
Keeping them in check, and that's why.
That's my Who Wants to Be a Millionaire lifeline.
Yeah,
right
right.
there.
That's a live thesaurus. Yeah, that's
So
yeah.
So again, like you know, not to be repetitive, but we have to break that specific tradition of thinking that our wedding has to look like the weddings of the 60s, 70s, and before, you know?
But I would like to also add, if it's really about finance, right? And this is very serious. What I'm about to say is I've been saying this for a few months now, and people just laugh at me. But we might have to double up, you know, as far as like
Double up.
sister wives. You know,
Oh, right.
Nah,
share
nah.
share the load.
Share the
Share the
load.
load, share the love.
you know, it might.
Nah, we can't do that.
Listen, you know, I've had conversations with some close family and friend members who are anti. They don't understand this whole like sister. But listen,
Talk about kink shaming, by the way, too.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
kind of liberal society are we living in when a man can't just have two sister wives?
I mean, it works in Utah.
It works in Utah.
It's
The
Utah.
numbers are behind it.
The stats and the
Yeah,
facts.
the studies. It's a proven, time-tested system, and it works.
It's worked since the Babylon times. It's worked since BC, before Christ, and it's gonna work
Post Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
PC.
Yeah, right.
Personal computer.
post Christ.
Political correctness.
But listen,
Full circle.
but like but honestly, it's like, you know, if you really want that big crowded wedding, I mean,
We're benefiting from having an all-male perspective,
Right?
That's a big benefit right now.
I know. This week our IG is gonna be loaded with like comments and stuff. So
Now you got my man talking about this sister wife shit. He's watching the show.
you know what I'm saying? But
That
yeah.
is crazy, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I see it coming.
Here's a
Just
question.
Follow
It's
the
crazy like a-
dollar.
Here's a
follow the
question.
tree.
Yeah.
Left field, may not be left field, but how would you feel about being a brother husband?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
First of all,
That ends the conversation immediately.
First of all,
I don't want to be no brother husband. So
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm not having no sister.
that there's no data that prove that such system will work. So therefore, I can't give you an honest answer. But what I can say is that
Yeah.
two swords fights, somebody's about to get cut.
That's right. Yeah.
The male ego is so. I mean, granted, women could be violent too. I've watched a lot of Lifetime shows to know this stuff. But I honestly, I don't know. It doesn't even sound right. Brother husbands, like
So
You know what it
sister
is?
wife sounds perfect.
sister wife just rolls well with the tongue.
It's got a good rhythm to it. Sister wife. Right?
However, would I want my daughter to be a sister wife? Okay, maybe I'm a little bit
Yeah.
conservative. Like, you know, would I want my niece? Maybe I'd be very conservative. But I will say, you know, if the economy is really tough, I would understand. And if
the
it makes
economy is a big factor.
and if
Yeah.
it makes sense for the survival of my family,
Right.
it can work.
That's what matters.
Teamwork
you know?
makes the dream work. That's it. That's our final episode.
Yeah, man. This episode has been brought to you by Sister Wives.
This is why. Proven, tested, and improved.
Yes. So other thing we have to kind of talk about before we leave here is traditions and religion. God.
Hallelujah.
Yes. So Numbers.
Shut up. Lord, forgive me.
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
I found an article here by Daniel Burke of CNN, their religion editor. Okay. So basically, what we talk about here is the overall drop in the pews. People aren't showing up to church as often as they did in even recent years. So we're going to kind of talk about it, figure it out why, come up with the solution. We'll see if Sister Wives is anywhere in the solution.
I guarantee you.
Yeah, he's gonna work it in. We're gonna
listen. What's today's date? Today is
the 24th.
The 24th. Yeah, the day that a 61 field goal attempt went in. Fucking Philly, man.
Shout out
New
to
York
the Eagles,
Giants
man.
are 0-3. Gosh, but anyway, yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh,
So-
God, my gosh, my head hurts. Fuck you, Will, in advance.
According to a new a new landmark study conducted by Pew Research, released Tuesday, a survey of 35,000 American adults shows that Christian percentage of population dropping precipitously to 70.6. In 2007, it was at 78.4. So on the surface, you might say, well, it's an 8% drop, so that's not that big of a deal. But if you think about it, wow. So if you think about that's just one of our
interns.
staff. Yes, one of our staff here is in the back. You know, just being loud and reckless. You know, don't make me pull Lawrence O'Donnell back here. There's hammering in my ear. I can't. Making goddamn stuff.
Don't make me go up there myself.
Yeah.
Fucking hammering.
Having like,
Put hands on that hammer.
put a goddamn Labor Day parade in my ear.
Yeah,
What
right?
is this thing? Is it Flatbush?
Fucking sucks. Fucking thing sucks. So
Damn, man.
So please go watch that video. Pause the video, open up another tab, keep this on your left tab, and then watch Lawrence O'Donnell spazzing out. It's even better than the Bill O'Reilly spaz out.
That's a good point. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought Bill O'Reilly had it, but yeah, this guy took it.
Keep the tab open. I'll give you a couple of seconds.
when is
Watch
it done?
it.
Come
Check
back.
it out. Come right back.
Are they family members? Are they related? O'Reilly and they have the same demeanor look when they were. When you watch the videos,
I feel like that's almost racist because the O'Donnell's O'Reilly. Is that what you're going with? Yeah, man.
oh, I mean, nah, not really.
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
came
you're a
out
little
there.
bit racist.
Really,
Bro.
that was really.
That's
I
not-
assumed
that's
that they
not
were
okay.
like Irish.
That's
right?
not
Yeah, you kind of did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Well, I
man.
was in PC, y'all. See,
Yeah.
it's not a perfect system.
We denounce and rebuke him.
But when you look at the video, he even said the same shit. Like,
He did say the same shit.
but yeah.
So
but
are you
I-
saying that all Irish people speak alike? Is that where you're going now?
Well, they say, oh, all right, this guy. So I know. All right, I'm breaking tradition here.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Which is okay, because this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out if the millennials should break tradition and what traditions to break.
Right.
Now we're on the topic of religion.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. And so we found here that there has been a sharp decline in people showing up to church on Sunday, and it's not just Christianity. I mean, I've seen similar studies on. I believe the only religion that's holding on is, I believe, Judaism, and I feel that Judaism has been more attentive about maintaining culture than perhaps other groups are. Like
I could see that.
with like Judaism,
There's
religion is a
aspects
part
to
of your culture. It's a part of your ethnic identity, right? It's a
Right.
part. It's a part of how you see yourself related to the world, right? But like for Christianity, if you're born Christian, oh well. Like if you're Catholic, everyone's born Catholic and they go to CCD and then they drop out in like 8th grade, like. So like being Catholic is just like optional. It's just like being like checking vegetarian like on the menu or whatever.
Right,
But
right,
for a
right,
lot of other religions, I mean, even in Islam, another religion that can be very serious and very intent on maintaining its traditions and its cultures, we're finding those numbers come down too. So what do we think about the numbers coming down in just religion in general? Do we think that's a good thing or a bad thing, and why?
I think it's a good time. Well, no, correction. I think it's a strong indication that like the Antichrist is right around the corner. People,
Trump already got
are
elected.
looking for a new religion to unify everybody, to be a perfect time for that monster to creep in right now, because everybody's lost faith. I mean, no pun intended. Everybody has lost confidence in what the elders, right, have been teaching them about their understanding of religion.
Right.
Because, you say you believe in God, and then, when moments come where you need to utilize your spiritual guidance for deliverance, you question it, and then you go all crazy. And now I'm here to say, well, maybe you weren't right all along. Because if you're going out of control, then and I looked at you as the epitome of a well-devoted believer, it makes me understand that everybody's flawed, and I don't have to take life as seriously.
That's perfect. Like, for me, that reminds me of like the DARE program. Shout out to the DARE program.
Yeah, man, you ruined my life.
Making weed sound really interesting, like from day one.
Frying my brain.
Right. So it's like for me, I compare that to the conversation about drugs, to where DARE went full tilt on every drug, and so granted, weed is still Schedule 1, but they treated weed with the same seriousness
As
that
meth.
as meth, as
Meth,
crack, as
crack.
heroin and shit. And so when you're a young kid and you go to a party and you smoke weed for the first time, you're hanging around with some people and you smoke it for the first time, and your eyes don't fall out of your head and your fingers don't explode and shit, and nothing happens to you, you go, oh man, those older people, the older last generation, they're overreacting.
Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about.
Right. So I tried this, I'm still fine. So what is all this? And so because we have this overprotective reefer madness reaction to every little drug, when it comes to the larger thing, I'm already not hearing you because I know how you exaggerate. And so I think that's an interesting point you bring up about religion, because yeah, it's like, you've been saying that the world is ending for how many 100 years now, and you've been saying that this and this is supposed to happen, and all this other kind of stuff, and it doesn't happen. So then a lot of young people are saying, I'm busy, I'm working 2 jobs because it's millennial shit. I don't have time to get up at 6 o'clock every morning and go pray and go do this and be a perfect Christian and stuff like that. Even when you do it, you're not Christian enough. Like, no matter what we do, we're always perceived as being like not religious as us. When we were religious back in our day,
back in our days,
God was
yes.
really in church then.
Yeah, so-
Now it's just So it's that kind of judgmental thing, And so
Religion is a
people-
very touchy subject.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna say too much on it, but
You're gonna say just the right amount.
I want to say the right amount. PC culture. It's all about the PC culture.
You got to respect your sponsors.
Because
They're buying albums here.
definitely.
Shout out to Lecrae. I see you, baby. Get those numbers up.
So we have gotten to a point where it's all in your face. You have these pastors with these mega churches, they're bringing people in, and they're living lavish. And the congregation, however, is still suffering for the most part.
Yeah.
In that happening, in time, it makes people believe less. Like, maybe I should be a preacher. Oh, wait, I got to be ordained to be a preacher. Mind you, there's school for preaching.
Right.
You got to go to school. They're going to teach you how to preach, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So my take on religion is, at a point where, our parents are a lot older, when religion was brought to them, it hadn't yet been about finances. Because right now, from what I see, this is my own perspective. This doesn't mean that this is what it is. You know, got to throw the disclaimer out there.
Courtside view.
From what I see,
Yeah.
a lot of religion talk, like when they say, oh, if you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, your blessings are going to come in a financial form. You know, so people are under the impression that getting paid is a blessing.
Checks in the mail.
So when the people are not getting paid, but they're investing, they're devoting their lives, they're devoting their, you know, time, and the return is not the money that the pastor been preaching that I'm gonna get. I'm gonna be able to get this house. I'm gonna get this new job. Like,
Someone got that money.
yeah, like
Someone got that new house.
when all of that is not coming back, people are losing faith in what the church is teaching.
Yeah.
It sucks,
Yeah.
but it's the harsh truth. Here's the thing. They say you got to be Christ-like. Jesus didn't stay in one place and people came to him.
Right.
Jesus went
going.
out to the people and spoke to the people. So I think as far as religion go, we might have, as a people, have to start to go out, you know, and preach the good word. You know, I don't want to say like, oh, I want people to go out and be like, oh yeah, come to God and this is what's going to happen to you. No, like, I think before it got to a point where America, you know, America made it like all about finances. It was all about building someone's character, someone's spirit versus building your pockets. Now that it's all about building your pockets, the millennials are feeling like, well, we don't need to go to church to build our pockets. If I get this job, that job, and I hustle,
Right.
my pockets are going to be right. So, you know, I think what's happening as far as the decline in attendance at church is due to the I can't call it a fact. So it's due to the maybe assumption or the idea of thinking that if I go do this and I do that, this is going to happen, and it not happening. So people are starting to sort of get tired of not getting what is quote unquote promised to them. In fact, some people have gotten to the point where they think they were born to be broke.
Right.
So,
right.
oh, I'm born to just come here. I'm gonna wake up every day, go to McDonald's to work. The government gonna take their percentage from my taxes. I gotta give then another percentage to the church. I'm barely paying my bills. You know, I'm pretty much living check to check, and this is what my life is supposed to be. And the more that people are living like this, the more that they're starting to get tired of it. So now it's like, okay, that 10% I was giving to the church, man, I'm going to keep my 10%.
Right.
I'm not giving it to the church no more because I'm not getting nowhere with it. At least, okay, well, if I'm going to go to hell, at least before I go to hell, I'm gonna live and enjoy my life on earth. Right. You know, that's where people's mindset seem to be getting, like going. Personally, I believe there's a God. I believe that God does exist. I don't want to say God is a he or a she. You know, I believe in the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Spirit, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I believe in that. And like I was telling Dave earlier, we were talking about that here. I'm not a God. But if God created mankind in his image, I'm 1/3 God.
Yeah.
So there's the Father, the Holy Spirit, and then there's me, you, and everybody else. So we have to like sort of get to a point where our religion becomes building one another. Not to like take away from what Christ did, because Christ died on the cross for our sins. There was a time on earth before us where miracles were happening due to faith. You know, it's in print. I wasn't there, so I can't say it didn't happen. You weren't there, so you can't say it didn't happen. So if it's in print and all we have is that information, we're not in those times anymore. So we have to get back in that time, but based on what we have as resources. And our current resources is each other.
Right.
You're my resource, I'm your resource. So in order to get or build that level of faith, we have to build each other in a sense.
Yeah.
And do, I'm sorry for cutting you off,
No.
and try not to steer away from the tradition of church, you know, which would be hard because there's so many different religions. No one knows which is the right religion. Everybody claims that their religion is the true religion. That's no pun intended. That was not a brand endorsement. But everybody feels like their religion is the true religion. But in reality, there's one God.
Right.
There's no 50 different gods. I don't know. You know, some people believe in the gods of the stars.
Right.
Some people believe in all that other stuff. I don't know. But what I do feel like, as far as religion goes, that decline is coming from people being fed up. Like the millennials are starting to get fed up with not getting what's being told to them that they will get. But then they watching these pastors ride around in Bentleys and Rolls Royces and all this other stuff. They live in heaven on earth, but we got to wait till we die to see heaven. It's not adding up to us.
Right, and so this study kind of goes on to basically back up what you're saying. So it's saying that with a lot of youth, they don't feel as connected to religion as they used to before. Many Christian denominations have been riven by internal struggles over homosexuality, particularly in the last decade. While most millennials back gay rights, according to separate surveys, they are more interested in working with the wider world than holding endless debates over sexual morality. Right, and so they go on to talk about other issues as well, but just there's also a big social gap between what millennials think is fair and what the previous generation thinks is fair. And so it's hard to be the religion of, at least in my perspective, it's hard to be the religion of the Prince of Peace, the religion, not the religion, because lots of other religions espouse love, but Christianity talks about love so much. But I feel like a lot of what they talk about has to do with not love and who gets to go up to heaven and who goes to hell. And then there's this kind of like, the one thing for me growing up Christian, the one thing that always kind of like made me weird, well, a lot of things made me weird, but one of the things that freaked me out was like the whole idea of that people would take pleasure in someone else going hell. It would be that person's going to hell. And like for me, like it wasn't like, the tone wasn't, unfortunately, that person's going to hell. It's that person's going to hell, and you fucking love that person.
Yeah, you're gonna go to hell.
That feels fucking good. I'm better than somebody else.
Yeah,
and it's just like, how do you connect those two ideas? You're supposed to be about peace and love and helping people get across the bridge, but at the same time, your energy and your attitude is very not about that. And so I think that's part of what's kind of driving people away. Like you're saying, it's a money thing, it's a time thing. And hey, look, man, I got good friends who are gay. I got a cousin.
Deny.
Right? So I got cousins, I got family who are trans. I have people who are, on different ends of the spectrum. And so just saying we the sexual spectrum, to say that we just hate everyone who's just not fucking straight, that you're gonna lose a lot of people.
Well, and it's very contradictory,
right?
Because it says, "Love thy neighbor."
Unless they're gay,
or
they
gay,
trans, or love thy cis neighbor.
Love it, love.
Yeah,
love thy sister wife.
Yeah. I knew we'd bring it back.
Because it goes back to religion. But
in
addition to that, I like to add that, part of the reason why I want to say that millennials are, not really too much settled on religion is because we've got new gods. If you watch the series Starz American Gods, the new gods are the internet, it's TV, it's media. So these things are the things that are attracting us and that are building attention, right?
Attention, yeah.
So that's part of the reason why there's so many preachers that do very well, i.e. T.D. Jakes. You know what I'm saying? He does very well.
Shout out to Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen.
Leading the way, man.
Leading the way.
Yeah.
Back onto the highway. You can go.
Giving everybody an Uber ride.
Yeah, right?
But, so it's almost like another example. If you go to a restaurant that happens to be a franchise business, right? But they represent, I don't know, Arby's or BK, who has not sponsored this podcast. But
Not yet.
But if that franchise just gave you a effed up meal, now when the next city you go to, you're probably going to be hesitant to try that BK or Arby's because you have that experience. So because there's just so many churches and there's so many sub churches and subcultures and tribes, and then everybody's under the same umbrella, right? But everybody's got their own flavor.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's just too much sauce.
Yeah.
So it's not good.
Like, Philippe, the new.
So that plays a role, man. Just so many copycats, and all of them are not authentic, and it's everybody has different intentions. I mean, there's that story of that pastor who was being audited, and they recorded him. We'll probably add the drop towards the end of the episode so you can listen to it. But he was pretty much being questioned of why do you have to have a custom limousine?
Have you ever heard anybody so guilty?
I've seen that. I seen
in his life? Yeah, I said, well, the limousines are
the-
to get refugees. It's the most efficient refugee vehicle. It was like, bro, you're making this up on the spot. Like,
why did you have to create a stretch limousine out of a Mercedes Benz that was preferred? Well, it's for the
church, for the people at the church
that
or
we
something
pick
like
up
that.
because we want them to show that we're doing fine.
you have gold-plated doors. Well, the gold is to keep the vampires out. You're just like, no, you just wanted a really nice car, bro. Just say that shit.
So it's
And it's discouraging to see that.
It very is.
And to feel like,
These are the leaders.
damn, you're leading me
A mega
away from this.
Yeah. So when people
You're leading yourself into this, but you're leading me away from this. Why should I come to you?
Yeah.
So that's why we give people too much power and influence, I mean, I'm heartbroken that Carmelo Anthony's leaving my New York Knicks, but I have to accept that, he's a grown man.
Fire him! Get him out of here!
Get that son of a bitch.
Yeah. You know he was dying to say, get that black son of a bitch.
Yeah, Carmelo should have came out and said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay.
But but I can't make this athlete that I respect, that I've never met before, my idol, right? Yeah. So a lot of us, we go to church and we see these people and we look at.
Are you comparing Carmelo Anthony to Jesus right now?
No.
I'm comparing to the idol worship.
Idol, like
okay, about to say
people are so they're worshiping
the person's lifestyle that they want to be him.
Yeah.
And because they grew up in the same generation. So, if he's a millennial, I'm a millennial, I see him doing this thing at a different level, I aspire to be that way. And I think that's what we do with pastors. I think there's so much, they say why there's so much women in the church. Personally, I think it's probably...
You aspire to Lala.
Huh? Yeah.
I said you aspire to Lala. That's what
Hi,
you
Lala. Follow me at Wally Wall Street IG.
Follow me at IM305 Fresh. Everybody, not Lala.
Just Lala. Specifically, la 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 la. Nah. But real talk though, Stan. We have to really, there's a lot of people say there's a lot of women in the churches and stuff rather than males. Well, that's because game recognized game. A guy knows when another guy's just playing.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying? So we're not trying to. Oh yeah, all right. And then
I know a hustle when I hear one.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then in addition to that, when your spouse is over here bragging about another man in front of your face about what he's doing, and I'm like, man, what the?
What? And we definitely don't want to again, PC culture. We don't want to discredit. Jeez. We don't want to discredit the churches that are actually taking, tithes and offerings and bringing it back out to the community. There are churches like that. For instance, the church that I go to, they spend a lot of their money in Haiti, and it's a white man who's the pastor of the church. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't say.
You better fact check that money.
Yeah. You better say.
Might be a Red Cross situation. Oh, it's going to Haiti in my private bank in Haiti.
Oh, yeah, tell me a little bit.
It ain't.
All right.
That church has been around for over 100 years. Well, it's about to go through its 100-year anniversary.
Okay.
They got pictures when the church was all white people. Now the church is like 90% black, 90-something% black.
Yeah, right.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm sure because I was able to witness such church, I know that there are other churches out there that do, what the church is quote unquote designed or was created for. That was a place you can go to if you needed help. The people who do need help, they can go to that church.
That's why I say with millennials, we don't need that no more, because we have the tech, we have the digital, we have the technical space where we could find that help and find the answers.
True.
They
We
do
have a
talk
problem
about
with
that,
being
yeah.
millennials who don't need it though, because I'm against it. Again, I'm pro religion, I'm pro God.
That's true.
Is that we're losing our spirituality. A lot of what I've noticed about us as millennials is that we're under the impression that the battle is just physical. It's like we don't believe that there's also spiritual battles. Like there's spiritual battles that goes on. There's a saying that says, if God could show you all the demons that he fights off for you, you'd catch a heart attack and die. Because if God could open your eyes and let you see spiritually what he's battling for you, you would catch a heart attack and die. We're under the impression that it's all physical, it's all what we see with our eyes, and we're not thinking about the spiritual realm. And it exists.
Unless you have a camera in your house and you record at night to see
All
these
the
little
paranormals.
orbs. Nigga, I got several orbs.
But the spiritual realm does exist.
Oh, yeah, of
Let's
course.
not discredit our God. Like, I'm not saying that God is Jesus Christ. Like, that's one thing I don't like to hear. I don't like to hear people say Jesus Christ is God. No, Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Meaning there is a higher power somewhere. Some people call it the universe. But the universe does send out negative energy towards you.
I think when we say spiritual, we have to give certain people like the idea of what you really. So
Yeah.
like for example, like most people when they say I'm a spiritual person, you hear that all the time, right? But they don't define what exactly are you doing to connect with that spirituality. Like, do you understand that the computer that you're using, right, the MacBook that you have, came from a thought and idea. That's spirit.
That's a spirit.
And then you put the works in to manifest it to create what you see in front of you today. I think if we start having conversations like that, millennials will probably get it a little bit more. But nowadays, and that ties into tradition. See, we're talking about breaking tradition. There's a lot of pastors that don't want. I could recall hearing a pastor at a local church near Sayreville, which that I recall the pastor saying something in reference to like, I like wearing my suits, and any new age pastors, they like wearing their jeans or whatever. No, whatever. I take pride in riding my suits. I mean, that's a great thing, and I get it because you come from that generation. But when you're not inviting, and to be fair, he has some people that work with him in his staff that do have that attire where they don't look like a typical preacher, your granddaddy's preacher, but
But not the head though. It starts with the head.
But yeah, right.
Starts with the leader. Yeah.
So when
He's setting the pace.
yeah, that's true. So he's setting the pace. So he's setting that. That's a very good point. So I say all this to say, I mean, unfortunately, we only get into religious when our lives are on the line.
Yeah.
We call in God when the IRS says that we owe him like 5 G's, and then
That's the other thing I didn't like about religion growing up. It was just like 9 out of 10 times when you hear a prayer, it's just asking God for shit. And I felt
that's a
is
problem.
this Santa Claus? Like
That's
you
the
just
problem.
like anytime you lose
Because
the
bribing
remote.
God.
Because look,
If you give me
I
one
can't-
more shot,
I can't tell you exactly where to go in the Bible
Yeah.
to find where it says your prayer shouldn't be what you want. It should be being grateful, showing gratitude for what you have. You don't have to, and I say this because not everybody on earth is going to believe in God, So there's some people that believe in the universe. So if you're one of the millennials out there who believe in the universe,
Shout out to me.
being grateful will take you further than feeling like somebody owe you something. You understand? So it's a mentality. It's a thought process. If I'm used to
dot,
If
I'm
I'm
not
used-
talking about dots. Dot process.
if I'm used to using the term God,
Right.
so that's the term I'm going to use.
True.
Because at the end of the day, I could feel deep down in my heart that what I believe in is the right way, die and find out it's wrong. And vice versa, you could believe deep in your heart is the right way and die and find out it's wrong.
Yeah.
So who am I to tell you you're wrong, I'm right? So I won't ever take that stance as someone religious. The problem is we got too many people taking that stance, saying, "Oh, you're wrong, I'm right." So millennials are feeling like, nah, like we ain't rocking with that.
Yeah, it's like there's an African proverb I heard. That's like perfect for this. It's like it's like never argue with the fool on the street because from far away you both sound stupid.
Yeah.
So it's just like you can get into this argument of I'm right because X, Y, Z. Well, Buddhism is an older religion, so how are you going to tell me that Buddhism is 4,000 years old? But from far away, all the other person hears is two people just going back and forth. Yeah,
They're
yelling.
Like, y'all look stupid.
Yeah,
Y'all look
exactly.
stupid.
And so millennials are on the outside looking in and going, all that just looks like just foolishness and whose dick is bigger and whose religion is better.
And it has gotten to that point, and we have to break that.
Right.
We have to break that and be responsible with it. I'm not saying, like, if I get a chance to say one more thing before we go, in breaking the traditions, we have to be responsible enough to understand that we're breaking the negative portions of the tradition.
Right.
So that we can bring in the positive aspect to build one another versus destroying one another.
True indeed. And, you know, it's very tough to talk about trying to break tradition because, you know, you really try to do that in November. We almost break that glass ceiling wall, but then there's a part of America that was
Are you really going to make me go in on Hillary?
There's a part of America.
Are you really going to bring that up at the end?
I was riding with her, but some Americans
begrudgingly. See how he said it? Yeah, I guess. Like when Jesus Christ Obama was running those two times. When you saw one Barack Obama speech, you automatically knew if you 100% loved him or you 100% hated him. You knew exactly where he felt on issues. You knew where you felt like you knew where his heart was. You knew where he was coming from. It was always 100% clear what a Barack Obama presidency would be like from day one. Hillary Clinton's like a Democrat, kind of.
She like shaky. She like real shaky.
She like, I kind of like black people, but yeah, I do got some shady racist shit in my past too. I'm kind of liberal, but not really. And so how do you expect us who have, you know, we lived through Bush, we got our hopes
we
up.
lived through the Bushes.
Yeah, right? We got our hopes up with Obama, now, you know, and now we're back.
But Obama delivered on his promise to give you hope.
Yes, he delivered on a lot of his promises.
To give your ass hope.
Yeah, right.
At the end of the day, it's up to you. Before we go, follow me on all social media outlets. I am 305 Fresh. That's all one word. SoundCloud, DatPiff, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any social media outlet. I am 305 Fresh. All one word.
That's right. We want to thank Mr. Fresh.
Yeah,
sitting in with us.
Yeah, man.
We had a great conversation. It was a great talk.
Yeah,
So
Thank you for having me, man.
Of course.
I love
Yes.
y'all. I appreciate
Definitely going to do this again. You know.
Yes. Next time you're in the state, come through, make it work for like a weekend type of situation.
I'm gonna try to make it work for a week.
Yeah, right.
Tired.
Right. So there it is. So look, we had a good time talking about traditions, the walls that need to come down, and some of the walls that should stay, right? Some structural walls, you know, you don't want to Property Brothers it, because then you're going to fall behind on your budget,
Right.
and you can't get your dream home.
Exactly.
You got to settle for like, you know, the other home
The
in
apartment
like the
complex.
not so great area, you know, but there's a nice back. All right, this has gone on too far. So thank you for joining us. And I'm Dave Williams, and we have
Wally War Wizat, you know what I'm saying?
And it's your
Follow me
boy.
on my IG, Wally Worston. Now, but most importantly, shout out to Mashaya for holding us down on
social
MXE
media
podcast, social
manager.
media.
That's right.
Yeah. Follow us on the IG. We're gonna have we have a Snapchat, right? or coming soon, yeah. So follow us on Snapchat, probably MXE podcast, and we're gonna work on our Twitter fingers. So be on the lookout for that.
We're gonna work on our Drake fingers, on our
Meek Mill.
Meek Mill.
Sorry,
Lord,
I didn't
Meek Mill.
say that.
Yeah,
Who
right.
said that?
Yeah.
Mashaya, was that you?
Hey, man, Philly is only 40 minutes away, man. I don't want him to coming up here. I don't want no problems from the goons, man.
I don't think Meek Mills wants any more losses like on the year.
But you
Like,
know,
I don't think he can.
I don't think he's gonna take any losses from me.
Now his album I heard was really fire. So
Yeah, his latest project is pretty good.
Meek, you know, you're only 40 minutes away. Just holla at us, man. We would love to have you on. You know what I'm saying? Just talk about a few things. We won't talk about relationships and nothing like that, but you know.
Shots fired. Bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, we don't have to talk
He
about.
flew too close to the sun, man.
Yeah, man. trying
Too
to-
much too soon.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, for real. But
Yeah.
yeah, like always, man. Sign it out.
I think all of that was freaking planned, like drawn out. Oh, you're gonna date her for X amount of time, and y'all
like-
gonna have a big breakup. Gonna have all type of problems.
Oh man, but on some real shit, that's how.
You don't think
that's
the
how.
timing of it was pretty?
Nah,
the
but-
timing of that breakup was kind of funny.
No, but
It was like the day after Back to Back came out. It was like the next day.
yeah, man.
It was
Listen, it's all about relationships, right? I think she made a smart business decision.
Yeah, she needed the streets.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Dating Meek Mill gave her back the streets. Period.
Yeah, and
Point
then,
blank. Period. Because when she dated him, he was the king of the streets. He was the nigga that everybody in the streets, the street niggas,
Yeah.
they were listening to Meek.
yeah, man. I remember.
So
driving
for Nicki to
around.
be with Meek, now all the niggas in the streets want a bitch like Nicki.
Right. And you know, she's someone that's.
Excuse my language. They wanted a young lady like Nicki. I apologize. We're gonna edit that first thing out.
No, we don't do edits. We
Yeah.
don't do edits.
Sorry, we are live, aren't we?
One shot,
yeah.
yeah, man. We can't edit. That's authenticity. That's millennialism.
Yeah.
Is
But
that
for the
even a
sake
word?
of,
I mean,
but
well,
for
she
the
calls
sake of
herself
the-
a bitch, so whatever.
Yeah. That's a part of her image. We're talking about Nicki Minaj, the artist, the image,
Not the woman,
not the human.
the entrepreneur.
under the masks of makeup, the circus clowns. All right.
Oh
So
my God.
I went farther. For you. Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Went from one.
I dodged the bullet.
Yeah. Right. The rodeo clown.
And his IG is biased and candor.
Yeah, right,
Take your shots at this young.
That's right. Or follow me at Dave_Will_music.
Oh,
Three
yeah, yeah,
threes. For updates on like music projects, shows, stuff like that. If you want to hear some good music, yeah, of course. I'll be posting videos up to
Oh yeah,
hear
man.
some jazz, some blues, some souls.
I think that's it. The next episode should be Millennials versus La La Land because I watched that film.
No,
And-
I don't want to talk about it.
All right. You got it. All right, kids. We'll see you next week. Have fun. And
Thanks for
remember,
listening.
no means no.
Peace.
Peace.